in doing so, it reopened some wounds that I did not want to relive. Excuse me, y'all. It caused me to relive some wounds because my child was really going through at that time, and I thought I was going to lose her. Today, y'all, I just want to make this video giving my testimony of how I got to my graduation point. I know y'all seen in my previous shorts of me posting my pictures from my Florida trip, from when I went to my graduation. I got to walk the stage with my daughter. But I wanted to just give my testimony of how I even got to graduation and how I actually got to this point. Because I've been trying to go to school since, I want to say around 2010, 2012 era. So let me just give y'all a little background. I have been working with children since I have been in high school. I graduated in 2002, but I got the chance to work with children, little babies, because I had an experience with a daycare that was a part of my high school. And then when I transitioned to another high school, I got to work with special need high school students. And all those programs were so fun, so fulfilling. And I just always had the desire to work with children. And being the fact that I've had my own children, it just really just gave me the ultimate experience on how to work with other people's children, because I always said that I want to treat other people's kids just like they my own. So back to what I was saying about, I started school about 2010, 2012. And I was currently like volunteering in a Head Start program. And I was like, you know, Lord, I want to finish. I want to go to school. I want to get my degree so that I can have, you know, the credentials and receive the higher pay. And so in the time frame of me going to school, I did have all of my girls, so I was still trying to go to school and volunteer, you know, because I started volunteering in the Head Start program that I eventually started working for. And so when I started working for them, they also encouraged me to go back to school. So I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I started school, and it was going okay. Then I accomplished some classes, but then I had to withdraw because it was a lot going on. The scheduling wouldn't allow me to finish. So I said, okay, I got to take a break for now, but I'm going to go back. So a couple of years later, about 2015, 2016, I went back. You know, I was officially staff with the Head Start program then, and I went back to school and did a couple of more classes, and ended up withdrawing again because we ended up moving. So this is now 2017, and we moved from Indiana to Georgia. And, you know, I wasn't working at the time when we got to Georgia, because we just moved here. So I was like, okay, my husband was working 2 jobs. So I decided to just take the year off and just, you know, be at home with my children to get everybody acclimated, situated. And then I was going to return to work. And so in that year I took off, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. So things shifted. My husband left the second job that he was working, and I found a job working in a daycare as a teacher assistant in the pre-K program. Y'all, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And it also just, I'm like, you know what? I want to go back to school and finish. I want to finish. So I did. Did I go back to school then? No, I continued to work that job at that school, but my desire was to, you know, finish my education and get my college degree, but I didn't go back then. I went back in 2022. After COVID, everything shut down, you know, I decided, okay, I want to go back to school. But here's where the curveball hit. Y'all, in 2022, I had enrolled, and I was in online school, and Rasmussen University to be exact. And that's when life just hit a curveball, like boom. Like, my daughter really needed me, and she was going through a lot of mental health crisis at that time, and she was self-harming, and was in and out of the mental hospital facility, so I could not concentrate. And on top of her going through that in that season, I was going through physical changes with my body, where my body was shutting down on me. My back was going in and out because I've had lower back problems for a while, since I've had my children. And it was just a lot going on, to the point where I had to leave my job at that time because of the amount of pain that I was in. Because I would literally be on the floor. I was working as a lead teacher in an infant classroom at that time. I would be literally crawling on the floor just to clean the mats and the toys and things like that. And it would be hard for me to pick up the babies to change diapers. I would be in so much pain, to the point where it brought me to tears by the end of the day. And I ended up starting physical therapy around that time as well too. So it was a lot going on. I was having to be in therapy. I was being called every other day to, for my child, and it was just a lot. So I went into my director's office that one day and I said, listen, I had given them a time that I was going to leave, but I had to leave earlier than that because the pain was too much and everything that was going on with my child was just too much at that time. And I had to not enroll. I had to withdraw in school once again. So I was like, okay, Lord, I know this is what I wanted, but maybe this is not your plan right now. And I'm just going to be there for my family, because my family and my health come first before the job. Because if I'm not well, I can't work the job. And if my children are not well, I still can't work the job. So, yes, I had to leave my job in 2022. Fast forward to 2024. My child is better. She went through therapy. She got the help that she needed, and she's doing way better. And then 2024, I said, Lord, if it be your will, I want to go back to school, and I want to finally finish. And I prayed about it, and I said, okay, God. So I re-enrolled into Rasmussen University, which was the school that I was attending online in 2022. And I said, okay, God, if this your will, work this out. So I re-enrolled, but then I got a message saying that because I had withdrawn before, that they would possibly not allow me to re-enroll. So I said, okay, God. But they told me that I could appeal. If I had a valid reason why I had to withdraw then I could appeal and be enrolled. Because everything was there. All the information I needed to enroll was all there. Everything was good. Financial aid, everything. So I had to prove why I had to withdraw in 2022. Y'all, in doing so, it reopened some wounds that I did not want to relive. Excuse me, y'all. It caused me to relive some wounds because my child was really going through at that time, and I thought I was going to lose her. So I had to go back through paperwork of her safety plan. I had to go back through, what I was going through. And I'll say, okay, God, just, y'all, excuse me. I had to go back through that paperwork. And I submitted that. I said, okay, I have my daughter's safety plan. I have everything that I had to go through at that time just to prove my appeal. So, and all the whole time, y'all, I'm praying. I'm like, God, if it's your will, just let this go through. Normally, the appeal takes between 5 to 7 days. Y'all, my appeal was approved within 2 days. Because not only did I have to submit documentation of what I was going through, but I also had to write a statement. And I just poured my heart out. I said, at that point in time, I was really going through a lot with my health and with my child, which caused me to have to withdraw. But I do promise that this time when I enroll, that I will be able to handle life situations and complete the program. And they approved my appeal and allowed me to re-enroll. I said, this has got to be God, because the quickness of the approval of both appeals, because I had to do two for two different departments, and both of them were approved. They did put me on academic probation when I first enrolled, but when I tell you that God just made it flow and just made it happen the way it needed to, let me show you what God did while I was in school.